you were close to being the Yankee General Manager. Tell us
yeah.
exactly how this came about in '96, right? And why did you not take that job?
95.
95 going into '96.
Yeah.
You were offered the job and didn't take it, and then later they gave you the managing job.
Yeah, I was fired first off in June by the St. Louis Cardinals, and I was with a couple of buddies in Vegas, and I get a call from Gene Michael, who was the general manager at the time, but he was going to a different position, and he asked me if I'd be interested in talking to him about being the general manager. I said sure, because when you're fired, somebody wants you, you jump at it. And I flew to Tampa and had lunch with both Stick and Joe Malloy, who was the president of the Yankees at the time. And, we chatted back and forth for an hour or hour and a half, whatever it was, and they offered me the job. And I asked a question that I pretty much knew the answer to, and I said, is there any vacation time? And working for George Steinbrenner, and they said no. I said, well, thanks for the offer, because my wife was like 7 months pregnant with our daughter, and I said, I just can't make that kind of decision at this point in time. And 2 or 3 weeks later, I get a call from Arthur Richmond, who was one of George's assistants. Yeah. and
An Arthur Richmond fan.
And Arthur, he was my traveling secretary with the Mets, so I already had, an inoculation with Arthur Richmond, and he said, would you like to be on this short list of guys being considered to manage? I said, sure. The other three were Tony La Russa, Davey Johnson, and Sparky Anderson. Well, Sparky had retired. When we had replacement players, he had enough, and he retired and didn't want to come out of retirement. Davey Johnson had the Baltimore Oriole job, start that, and Tony La Russa took over where I left in St. Louis. So they got stuck with me.
Well,
and
it worked out pretty well.
It worked out pretty well for me,
for everybody concerned.